head whisk, which has now got the standard attachments on. And I really wish I used a bigger bowl. Today, I'm going to be making my own homemade croissants from scratch because we're going to be making something called a crookie, okay? So that's a croissant stuffed with cookie dough, topped with cookie dough, and then a little bit of icing sugar. And this person's really enjoying it. They're very enjoying it. Look at this, this is it. But I've never made croissants before. Maybe this video should have been how to make croissants. It sort of is, because let's rewind to yesterday. Yesterday, I started to make this croissant dough. So in the bowl there, we've got plain flour, we've got yeast and sugar and salt. Now, people have said to me in the past, I've been told, don't put yeast with salt together. And others have said, no, that's a myth, just chuck it all in, it's fine. So I thought I'd go for it today. And I mixed it all together with actually some milk and water. And that was cold, okay? No activating the yeast. We're gonna take our time with this, really develop it, all going in together, mix it through, and you basically end up with a bowl of like rough, tacky flour, really. It is rough. And if you ever wondered what a block of butter cube looks like, there we go, it's quite pretty indeed. So we get that into the bowl too, and I use my kneading hooks on head whisk, which have been absolute lifesaver. I'm not actually sure if that's doing anything, but we'll keep going. It's cold butter, so it really took time to break down, but once it was in there, it was looking really cool. Next up, I floured down my surface, dumped the dough down and kneaded it. It was super smooth, absolutely loving it, into a clean bowl. God, that might be one of the nicest doughs I've ever made. Covered in cling film and over to a warm spot right by Phoebe's paints. We're basically waiting for that to double in size, and whilst that is, we can make something called the tourage, like Dr. Evil, tourage. It's basically a carpet of butter which helps the lamination and will get folded in between. So this is some cubed butter again, bashed that out with a rolling pin. It was actually really fun. Now, I'm not saying that's the neatest in the world, but I can trim the edges, and it's gonna go in the fridge anyway. It took 2.5 hours for my dough to get to this stage, but boy, was it worth the wait. I wanted to really work these flavors. So after struggling to get that out of the bowl, flouring down, knead it all together, just to smooth it all out, we can then get our butter from the fridge, put it in the middle, and then basically encase it. Now, this is a point I did really specifically on the pan of chocolate video, where we're trying to overlap and encase that butter in there, and it's really important to keep it cool. So fold it inwards, make sure it's fully encased, roll it all out, and then 90-degree turn it, folding it over from both ends to sort of like encase it. You're creating these lamination layers, and to my knowledge, I don't think there's any limit to how much you can laminate. So I did that a couple of times, and putting it in the fridge in between. Whenever you put it in the fridge, do make sure you wrap it in plastic wrap to stop it drying out, and just that little blast in the fridge just keeps the butter not seeping into the flour. And then you 90-degree turn, roll it out, 1/3, back on top, 90-degree roll, all that again. And to be honest, I think I did that 3 times, and then I got a little bit excited. I wanted to leave it, and it's supposed to leave it overnight, but I've actually did 1 extra turn. So that's where we're at right now. Honestly, I think that is the best dough I have ever made. It is so smooth. Oh my gosh. Look at this thing. It is like a pillow. And I never knew that you could actually leave things in the fridge and it would like sort of just take its time and slowly develop those flavors. But that's really what's happened in there, and it has risen slowly. I mean, there is that fear of like the fridge being like, ugh. It's so cold, I want to put my face on it. Right. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. But you could freeze this if you want. I'm not going to. I want to finish the video if that's all right. Is that right with you? There's still a bit of waiting though. So we're just getting it into like a big old rectangle. And that's, to be fair, that's actually really straight for me. Yeah, it's like a massive tongue, isn't it? Look at that. My friend Tim actually suggested the other day to use possibly a pasta roller to get it nice and neat, but I feel like this is doing good. Any bits like this, keep it to one side. I mean, let's just face it, any excuse to use a pizza cutter is amazing. But yeah, pasta machine, I don't know how thin to make it there, but this is nice and even. Can you tell I'm excited about this dough? As a middle-aged man, yes, this is what happens, folks. All right, so I've just taken my tape measure, and you might not be able to see it, but I've measured out like 15 centimeter gaps. Now really, you should have this, but I want to try and make mine quite big. So I'd say the one on the end here, and the one on that end, if my maths is fairly right. We might have a weird one there where you can kind of like just fuse together. Plus we got a little bit of offcuts, and like I say, I've made them probably double the size I should have. And also it's kind of like, because I don't know, because I've never done this before, so let's just see. We make a little indent here, okay? And what we actually want to do is stretch it out even more a little bit. Apparently this is more of a traditional shape to do this, although I quite like the uniform triangle. I mean, it's up to you. It looks like weird pizza slices right now, but just go with it. Do what is your croissant. If it looks square, you've invented something. Did I make the Eiffel Tower? Yes. So apparently we just fold the first bit over like this, and then you can do it with one motion with the palm of your hand, but I'm new to this, so I'm just gonna be quite gentle. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Mademoiselle, qu'est-ce que c'est? Je ne sais quoi, un croissant, s'il vous plaît, maman. That's incredible. Okay, so I've put them down onto a baking tray. I don't know how big they're gonna get, so just for peace of mind, I've put another 2 on a smaller tray. Tea towel on top, and now we wait again. Which gives me a chance to clean up because, you know, dough does get a bit messy. See you in a bit. I just found this other method of like how we can make the croissants rise. You know, like putting it in a warm place is kind of like that regular iconic thing, but I've just boiled up some water. I can't show you, but there's a pan of water just boiled in there. I put the croissants in, so the steam from there, if I open that, it's gonna like just defeat the point of it. It's gonna help them double in size too. So it'll be interesting to see the comparison in about an hour. Okay, so literally about 45 minutes later, these are, well, this is just the tray. Not too bad. That I put out in the hot spot. You know, they've done quite well, but they look a bit like dull and dry. Like, check this out, honestly. Look, pan of that was boiled water, the heat has stayed in here. Oh my gosh, the tray's even quite hot and it's wet at the bottom. Okay, look at them. Oh my goodness. I've just zoomed right in there. Can you see? And they smell incredible. Oh my gosh. The only thing I'd say is that the steam has made these really delicate now. Like, it's almost got the butter going, whereas these are just, well, they're quite dried out actually. I got some of the cookie dough filling ready to one side. We'll work on that in just a minute. This is what some milk with an egg yolk dropped in looks like. Of course, I guess you could just put like, oh wow, that is really delicate. Wow. You could put like almonds and sugar coat it if you want. Oven's preheated. These are very close together. We'll just go with it. See, that is, I want to do a giant croissant now. Like, why? Why have I never done that? I think I might, or a giant pan of chocolate. Pick one of the two, I will do one down, and then maybe the tiniest at the same time, just for banter. I am so happy with how these have turned out. I put my other batch in there, and now I don't really want to do this, but we need to make the cookie dough. So this is butter that I've softened. 2 types of sugar. Head whisk, which has now got the standard attachments on. And I really wish I used a bigger bowl. Just cream this together. 2 eggs. We are going all out. We just happen to have, from the cheap versus steep video, some of that really nice vanilla extract. And it doesn't end there, because this is vanilla bean paste, which I've never used before. I think that's just the seeds from a vanilla pod in there. Look at that. It's like frog spawn. But that's gonna be really intense. I'm sorry, I've got to do it. Ooh, crikey. That should be sold at a bar. And the last thing we got is the plain flour. It does say to use bread flour as well, but I am not using that. I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna use plain flour. It's cookie dough, for goodness sake. This is a mixture of chocolate chips that are both milk and dark. And that will be the cookie dough that we dollop into our lovely croissants. Speaking of which, these are the differences between the egg washes. So this is the milk mixed with egg yolk. And this one, which has just come out of the oven. Look, this one, you see that? That is purely just egg yolk. And that's what I did for my pan of chocolates. And what I would probably recommend you do if you want that real deep golden color. I love the bottom, look at that charring there. So this is where we have to take our croissant. Oh, it's so delicate and warm and flaky. I've got a half you, mate, down the middle. Okay, so what we do apparently is place some ice cream scoops of the cookie dough into the croissant. Oh gosh. Our lid goes on top, pressing it down slightly. And then I'm gonna do kind of like a, I don't know, a skid mark? A trail of cookie dough on the top. My poor croissant. I'm really gutted about that, but this could look amazing. Right, I'll repeat that with the rest of them and we'll get them in the oven. They look a little bit like sandwiches. I had to do the yolk only one at the back. I'm just kind of like, I'm holding on to that one. I think that's gonna be my favorite. Will the cookie in the middle kind of create this sandwich wedge thing? And do I sort of do them so they're still like a little bit raw, so you get that gooiness, or do I proper bake them through? I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to capture it, but my oven's a bit naughty sometimes. There is like gooey cookie dough slightly merging together and spreading almost like a gravy on top of those croissants.
I can't wait much longer. The smell is amazing.
Oh, look at that as I rip the lamination apart. Oh.
That's so good.
I'm in Paris.
That's so nice. Just need a little bit of jam.
Or cookie dough?
Oh, even better.
Really? You excited for that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of gutted that like done that to my first batch of croissants.
Have you seen it? They look like some kind of weird slug things.
Oh yeah. I'm not quite sure how long to cook these for. It smells incredible. The cookie has baked on there, draped on there. Inside I've got no idea what it's doing. I'm expecting it to be a little bit gooey. The one thing I will say is that you can snap off bits on the side there and just end up with little pieces of chocolate chip cookie already, which is truly bonkers. I think the really cool one is the one at the back though, with that yolk colour. It just pops a little more. So once this cools in a couple of minutes, I'll hold it up for a good look and then we'll mange. Look at that zoom on there. That's the chocolate inside spilling out. The bit on the top is baked through, okay? So you've got that kind of like baked cookie vibe, snapped off some cookies, and in the middle you've got cookie dough. Shall we just go for this? Oh my goodness, did you see that? This isn't healthy. I hated it and now I think I'm gonna love it. Right.
These look like the most unhealthiest thing in the world.
Oh my word.
That is amazing.
I got most of it on my face, but yeah, it's
Wow.
very buttery, isn't it? It's actually not that greasy, just you taste the butter and then that warm chocolate just settles that out with the crisp of the croissant. Oh, I'm glad I did this, but I would have been very happy just stopping at croissant. They were just so good as they are, but that is next level. However, that is probably your whole daily calories in just that bit.
I can't believe how nice they are, but how bad for you.
Yeah. Let's go for a run. That's a joke. Oh, this could be awful. Hello folks, hope you're good. Today we are testing 3 super viral TikToks that I've been wanting to try for a very long time. The first one we're gonna make is a decorative focaccia, which is gonna test my art skills, which is actually gonna be the last thing we'll probably taste. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is a decorative focaccia, something that has taken over 100 million views in total, and there is no way, I'm just gonna say that right away, that mine is gonna look anything as good as that. I am terrible. I am not the Bob Ross of cooking. But the reason we're gonna start with the focaccia first, even though focaccia I think basically translates to a flatbread because of the size of the tray you use, very simple to make. We just gotta make that yeast work a little bit. So let's get going. Some warm water, some fast action yeast. And this is a little bit different. This is a little bit of honey. A touch more. Why not? So I guess a little bit like putting sugar in, the honey is just gonna add that sweetness in there. We'll get that flour in, we'll get half in at first to make it a little bit easier. Now I've only made a focaccia once before and it was definitely up there with one of the easiest breads I've ever done. However, I think that this, with the decorativeness, is where I could potentially ruin it. It might not look like a garden. It could just look like a batch of mud. Okay, that's my backup. It's quite an oily bread, hence the olive oil going in here now. I really would like to put my hands in that, but I'm gonna be good. Get some flour down. Oh my gosh, that was a bit too much flour, but hey, it will definitely absorb it. My favorite phrase, well, one of them, we need to knead. Ah, this is so delicate. So just work it through for about 10 minutes. Keep flouring it if you want, because I'm feeling a little bit of tackiness here. So yeah, that was obviously a good thing that I've got so much flour here. That is so fun. I love doing this. We need to knead more often on this channel, I think. I should just do a live stream of just constantly kneading. Sounds like my teenage daughter. All right, so after a good bit of kneading, we need to put this in a nice oiled bowl. All right, it's nice and covered. So we're gonna put that in a warm space, randomly next to all of Phoebe's paints. She's working on a lot of art at the moment. Yeah, thank you to everyone. I think I've got, isn't that like battle scars from like doing all kneading? I love it, you got flour everywhere. Like, hi, you've been baking? Yeah, a little bit. Thank you to everyone that supported Phoebe with her Cozy Crafts art website. It's really cool. Right, so whilst that's rising, this one is something called, it's like brown butter toast. So basically, yes, Barry, are you making toast? We're not even making toast, we're just frying it in the pan. Yeah, it does look good though, but basically you brown butter. So we've done that before to really slowly develop the flavour. But what's happening there is basically you put in just a little dollop to brown it. You stick your bread in, which isn't toasted, okay? And then you just serve it like that. A little bit of salt, a little bit of honey on top if you want. So 4 ingredients effectively. Yes, it is glorified toast. Oh, it's starting to move, look at that. Iceberg, right ahead. We're gonna take it beyond the foamy stage to develop like a rich, tarty, kind of like, it's gonna draw out more saltiness, a real deep flavouring in there, but it will probably look more burnt. That looks really, really nice. I mean, obviously extremely healthy, but let's just be honest, a lot of that is gonna get absorbed into the bread. Ooh, oh yeah, that looks brown now. Ugh. Oh, this could be awful. Lovely piece of sourdough. In that goes. Oh wow. And you can see how hot it is because it's foaming around it almost immediately. Yeah, it does smell, it just smells partially burning though as well. Yeah, it's like actually smoking now, so I am going to turn it. I'm getting scared for any longer. Ooh. Ooh, that is a lovely colour. Oh my word. Look at that. Oh, that is outstanding. Right, I'm getting that off the heat. Oh, that is obscene. I mean, it's completely saturated with butter. Oh no. I'm going to do one more piece because I want to get rid of that. It feels like a bit of a fire hazard. But apparently, a little bit of salt on there. And for that sweet contrast, which I think is going to really need, it's more like a cracker, I think. That actually looks pretty nice. Now you've got that honey glistening and some salt flakes sort of wedged on there. I'm going to try it right now. I've got to be honest, that is it's really, really nice. The bread that I picked is actually quite thin. So what you've got are these super toasted layers. And then where the butter has slightly absorbed in the middle, it's still a little fluffy. There's a sort of golden tinge to it. But I think if it was a thicker slice of bread, you might get a little bit more pillowiness. But hopefully you heard from the crunch. The really horrible thing is how much I actually really like that. And you're not, it doesn't taste greasy. The kitchen certainly smells it. I mean, we saw how much was in there. It's all gone into these 2 pieces of bread. And I really want to eat the rest of this, but I might combine this with our other recipe. I have actually had to put that out of my sight because it is so addictive. You're getting a real deep, intense flavour with the butter. Right, let's check on our dough. Oh yeah, that's good, isn't it? Look at that. That's risen really nicely. Yeah, that's really good. Right, I just want to show you one thing actually. We'll just double check for our sanity with that butter. I just want to see how browned that butter was. Oh yeah, that has had a good workout. It looks more like Coca-Cola. All right, baking tray, and we are going to get a first batch of olive oil just on here. Quite an oily recipe this, but oil, leave it up to you how much you use. Ooh. Okay, tray comes in, we get our dough, foamy and oily, you beautiful thing. And of course it's going down onto an oiled surface anyway. And now I'm sort of already started to do it accidentally. You might have seen that stereotypical thing, again, that I've only done once before with focaccia, where they call it, possibly one of the coolest words in cooking, dimpling. Prod it, and I guess it kind of helps make it evenly, but I believe it does help knock some of the air out of the dough to stop it from rising too much. And that is going to be our canvas, apparently. A little bit more oil, just a little glossing of that up and down. This is what I like about this, is hardly much effort, you just push it into the shape of the tin, and we've got to just let it rest now for like 15-20 minutes. So back in that warm spot, that'll help it rise a bit before we decorate it. Meanwhile, I'm going to roast some garlic. Just resting on a little bit of foil, we're going to drizzle that with olive oil, some salt, pepper, and why not? Got some honey. Let's get a bit in there, a bit of sweetness. They are going in the oven because of this. Can you see those Brussels sprouts getting squished? This is going to be crispy Brussels sprouts. I always say Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts. We get the roasted garlic in there, parmesan too, and I struggled to get my Brussels actually. It's slightly out of season in the supermarket right now, but I went to the freezer aisle and I looked, it's like, oh, actually these look pretty darn good. Ooh, that smells like a granddad at Christmas. 10 minutes in there, they're nice and submerged. That should cook them through whilst our garlic is roasting. It smells a really crazy combo in here of Grandad at Christmas, burnt butter and roasted garlic. Cha-ting. What was even that? I don't know. I've just got the roasted garlic out of the oven. There we are. Should be able to just, oh, there we go. Look at that mushing. So a bit more olive oil. Honey roast garlic as well, remember. Oh, little pepper and salt. Sprouts go in. Give that a lovely good coat round to get that garlic and oil, salt and pepper. Even the honey from the garlic as well. Just gloss in those sprouts. So they're in the microwave for 10 minutes, those sprouts, all right? So they're not completely mushy, but they should squish, which we're about to do now. Ah! And yeah, it's sticking to the bottom of my glass. Okay, we'll push it off, but we're just massively increasing the surface area of that. You see it? Oh, that is actually really fun. And as if that wasn't enough, this is some parmesan freshly grated on there. We now bake this. Personal choice, but balsamic vinegar, some more honey, that little sort of like tang and sweetness. Oh, but in they go. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be incredible. Yeah, baby. Oh my gosh, it's quite crispy already. You can see why they call them crispy sprouts. Going to turn them over. And actually, to be fair, it might be hard to like recognize. You've got to remember which one's which. Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, because they are charring on the other side. Well, I'll do that. I'll turn them all over. Yep, happy with that. And more parmesan on top. Ah. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're really just trying to push this crispness even more back in the oven. Hopefully you can hear that. Oh. You probably can't. So then, whilst they're cooling down just over there, let's get back our dough. And I'm not sure how well that will show up on the camera, but that has actually risen quite nicely. It's almost like cloud-like and pillowy. You could even put like the odd indent slightly back into it if you don't go too harsh on it. But now this is our canvas. So I've got some chives, I've got peppers, I've got some olives. We're just gonna try and make it look a bit like a garden. But this is gonna be our grass. I've now got some spring onions, so I'm gonna just put them, they're gonna be our flowers. I've got some yellow peppers, which I've cut roughly the same size, and they're biting in the dough really nice. Oh, that looks quite pretty. I'm quite chuffed with that. Oh, I'm really happy with that. I've got some shallots here, which I can kind of, I'm not very good at flowers, I don't really understand them that well, to my mother-in-law's annoyance. And I have got a red pepper here as well, but I might have to do that the way I was going to do the yellow one at first. Oh my gosh, that actually looks really cool. I've actually trimmed it low here, so the red pepper just sits at the top of it. And I think I'll even do it on that one as well and just drape over, yeah, the petals like that. Oh wow, right, it needs a bit of contrast. So I might regret it, but I am going to put on a little bit of pepper. And in this jar here, I have got some trimmed olives. All being well, that should sit in there. Oh, nice. I don't really like olives that much. I don't hate them, but I think it's really helping, like really pop it, you know? I've got a teeny bit of parsley here that I could just stick in there. I'm not sure if that's just gonna wilt, but it might just be a way of making it look just a little bit more flowery, a little bit more garden-like. Yeah, I really like that. I've pushed the chives into the dough. We've got a nice mix of flowers. Hopefully that'll all stay together. I love the irony that we could bake it and it'll just be like, whoop. You might just see one pepper. Let's find out. What do you think? Does that look good? Thanks, mate. Yeah, his opinion is important to me because he literally is Pugcasso. So these have cooled down now. I've got some olive oil and balsamic for the focaccia. So I just love dunking it in that. But let's actually try one. In fact, let me zoom in on a charred one so you can really see that. Look at that. That is epic. All like crispy all over. Ah. I like crispiness. That is really good. It's actually even got like a slight hidden sweetness to it. You don't really get any cheesy sort of taste. You get the crunch of the parmesan where it's just literally charred on there. It's the crispness of that holds it together. The blistering and flaky edges. See that flaky edge? It is very mild, extremely addictive. In fact, I've got the balsamic there. I do wonder if just a little tang, just to lift it. Ooh, well, that's good. But the reason I made another slice of bread is I wanted to see what the serving suggestion would be like if I stick that on there. Oh. Yep, I mean, that really took those crispy Brussels sprouts to being crunchy Brussels sprouts. Oh, I've got to show you something. They are really good. This isn't a candle, this is the butter left over from that pan where we did that burnt toast earlier. Look at that. It is really worrying to think that, well, some of that I've just eaten. Now I can neither confirm or deny that I might have just had a hazardous workplace incident involving some balsamic vinegar that I didn't catch on camera, hence my t-shirt change. Right, let's now focaccia. Oh my gosh. I am really happy that that has held it together. I just about have too. Yeah, the shallots have actually darkened considerably. I love the blistering on the peppers just a little bit. And I think my favourite thing out of all of it is that those little bits of parsley that I just added anyway, they've kind of like wilted but clung into the dough and really sort of made it pop a little bit. I'm really happy with that. I actually don't really want to slice into it, but we better. One thing I need to show you is that the chives, if I just go like that, they just want to fall off. The grass needs reseeding. However, I think the rest of it genuinely smells amazing. It's looking like a nice golden colour on it. Could have tapped that in a bit more, but I'm happy. Oh my gosh, such a nice rise on it. I'll just show you there. You can see that you've got a lovely spongy fluffy middle. Even the bottom would have got a little bit baked as well because of the oil that goes there too. And the top as well, a nice light colour on it. Oh, that's good. I mean, not that it's not got enough oil in it already. And of course, my best friend balsamic that just destroyed my t-shirt. Oh. So as I bring in the tray with the random piece of bread left over and those sprouts, which were incredible, I think just about this was my most favourite because it was kind of fun. It was the essence of actually playing with your food and creating sort of edible art, and it drove more flavour into it, which was really, really fun. I kind of just want to do that to everything I make now, just stick things in it to make like landscape scenes. And yeah, I can't deny the bread was actually really, really tasty. You just wish it was something that was given to you without knowing what was going into it. And the sprouts, they're really cold now, but love it. They still get that sweet caramelization charring. Oh, keep the cool links you've seen online. Doesn't have to be TikTok coming in. These were all suggestions from you that I was like, wow, these have got some crazy views. I wanted to try them out and they did not disappoint. Cheers guys. If you try them, send me photos too. See you later.